Metro Police are investigating two overnight shootings. Just before midnight, police say a man showed up at U of L Hospital with a gunshot wound. They later determined the shooting happened on Nellie Bly Drive, that's close to Indian Trail Elementary. Then about an hour later, a man was found shot on Taylor Boulevard, about a half mile from Churchill Downs. Both victims are expected to survive. As of this morning, there are no suspects in either shooting.
And Louisville Metro Police are looking for a suspect in a deadly double shooting in the Algonquin neighborhood. Police were called in around 9:30 last night. They found the body of a man who'd been fatally shot. Then they found a second man who'd been shot multiple times. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. As of right now, there are no suspects. If you have any information that might help police, you're urged to call the anonymous tip line at 574 LMPD. And for the first time, we are hearing from the father of the man who was killed by an undercover police officer.
Metro Police say Mark Jaggers Jr. tried to carjack two undercover officers in Portland Monday. The two officers were on a stakeout at the time, and it was one of those two officers who fired the fatal shot. Jim Stratman is joining us live now this morning from LMPD headquarters. Jim, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Haley. You just kind of outlined that case that happened earlier this week. We know that those two undercover officers were in an unmarked vehicle in the Portland neighborhood, staking out a home on a completely different investigation. That's when Mark Jaggers Jr. approached that car, and police say there was an altercation when he tried to carjack those two undercover officers. We're told that one of those officers brandished his gun and fired at Jaggers, shooting and killing him during that altercation. Now, police say that officers did try to give first aid after the shooting, and EMS crews rushed Jaggers to the hospital, but he ultimately died. Jaggers' father, Mark Jaggers Sr., told us that he remembers his son as someone who loved to fish and is a great father. He said he doesn't understand why his son would want to do something like this.
I don't know why he would have his gun out to run up to that car unless but I know he didn't know he didn't think nobody was in that car. I know that for a fact. I know my boy.
Kentucky State Police are taking the lead role in this investigation, which is standard in cases of an officer-involved shooting. We did learn from Interim Police Chief Jacqueline Gwynn Villarroel that the officer who shot Jaggers was a 10-year veteran of the force. Now, yesterday, we also heard from Mayor Craig Greenberg for the first time since that shooting, and he sent out a message about gun violence to the entire city. We'll touch more on that coming up in the next half hour. Eric, Haley.
Jim, thank you. Police believe they've solved a double murder case from last year. Detectives have arrested 23-year-old David Morales. He's charged in connection with a double homicide that happened last April outside Hoops Bar and Grill, which is near Iroquois Park on Strawberry Lane. One man was found dead in his car, the other in the parking lot. Both were shot. Morales is expected in court Monday.
And there's a new property tax rate in Jefferson County. The school board passed the new rate last night, but did not go for the original higher rate. The final decision was a 4% increase on real property. So that's a lower than the initial proposal of up to 4.8%. The board says this is going to bring in an additional $706 million. Seventh Public Forum said the money is much needed in the district.
And you all have been making good bets in education with some of that money. And we want to keep those programs going, some of which are mental health professional staffing and restorative practice trained teachers.
Others feel like raising taxes is not going to solve the root of these problems at JCPS.
I've seen a pattern. You keep asking for more money, you put more money into something, and the results are not any better. And I'm saying that as a teacher who has been in the ranks experiencing that.
The tax increase begins July 1st.
Sticking with your tax dollars, the final version of Louisville city budget crossed a major hurdle last night. It passed the budget committee and will now head to the entire Metro Council for a final vote. In total, the city has more than $800 million to split up. Some of the highlights on top of the plans to build a permanent resource center for homeless people in the Metro, $3 million were added for the Goodwill Opportunity Campus in West Louisville. $4 million were added to the already $26 million for repaving city streets, and an additional $3 million were set aside to help with repairs at the Algonquin and Camp Taylor pools. The Metro Council is expected to vote on that budget at tomorrow's meeting.
The police memorial will stay in downtown Louisville for now. It honors police heroes who died in the line of duty. After being vandalized multiple times, there were calls to move it from Jefferson Square Park. The presidents of 8 FOP lodges in Jefferson County met Monday and decided to leave the memorial in its current location until they can talk to the families of the officers.
6 minutes after the hour now, the Louisville Metro Police Foundation is joining Shack in the Back Barbecue today for a special fundraiser benefiting LMPD officer Nicholas Wilt. Wilt was critically injured in April after being shot in his head during the Old National Bank mass shooting. 10% of all food sales during the day-long fundraiser will go toward his recovery. Some of the events today include a Dunk a Cop booth, an auction, and a petting zoo. If you'd like to show your support, it's happening from 11 until 8 today at the Shack in the Back Barbecue on Manslick Road.
And some good news for Sherman-Minton drivers. The upper deck westbound lanes are now reopened. Over the weekend, crews were working on demolition on part of the bridge when they discovered the need for emergency repairs. Yesterday, we learned workers found a problem area on a beam while removing a portion of the deck. But again, everything is remedied and that is now reopened.